Hi, everyone. Welcome. And if this is a return visit for you, welcome back. Glad to have you here. I want to talk about why mixing fast is so important to the success of your mixing and why it is important to actually alleviate all the wondering what if this and second guessing your every move or every other move. It's really important to mix fast and to basically just react to whatever you think, to not take time to process or ponder anything. You just want to react to what it is you're doing. And by doing that, you're going to end up getting mixes that are far better, far stronger, and that will translate better and that you'll be more satisfied with. And here's why. The reason why is that the faster you mix, the more you are in a position to know whether what you're doing is right or wrong, because it becomes very easy to become acclimated and used to what it is that you're listening to. You get used to balances, you get used to the way something sounds, and if you hear a problem, you go, well, I'll deal with that later. You won't hear what that is later, or maybe you'll jump in right now and that'll be your big focus for hours, and you'll be tweaking one little aspect, one instrument, on and on and on. Okay, so the faster you mix, the better you can tell what's going on. A big reason for that is that your ears are fresher. You'll be able to hear before your ears get tired and the presence range and the top end starts to roll off and things just sound dull, and there you are adding more top end to stuff, and your mix is getting brighter and brighter, and you just don't know that it's getting brighter and brighter. Another thing would be you won't experience boredom with the song that you're mixing. When things are new and fresh and you're in the process of discovery, things are more interesting. You're more just into the process. You're more just alive and aware and attacking the mix. That's another thing. You should attack the mix. You shouldn't be passive and to just approach things in a really casual way. Mixing is pretty much a full contact sport, and it needs to be treated that way, because when you have an edge and you do something in that sort of heightened awareness, it's going to translate into better sonics and better dynamics, better emotional content within your mixing. You won't lose the forest for the trees, so to speak. You're not going to be honing in on one little thing. You're going to be able to sit back and really hear what the big picture is. And that's what people really need to take in, is the overall vibe and the feel of a song. Just because things are in balance and everything has the right EQ and whatever, when you mix faster, you're more aware of making things feel good, the motion of a mix. How does it pump? How does it translate to my emotional heart, taking in the lyrics and the overall intent of what the song is supposed to convey, okay? Also, when you mix fast, it allows you to have more time for the fine details, because in an hour and a half, in 2 hours, 3 hours, the big mix in general is there. The mix is happening and you're pleased. However, the little details, the little scene changes, the making sure that things move and change and grow from a verse to a B section to a chorus to the middle eight to the out choruses during the solo, whatever it is that you're dealing with, there is really something to be gained when there's subtle little more delay in this section or more reverb in this section, or you want to filter some of the bottom end off on this part. And so when you're mixing fast, all that stuff is not a blur, and you can get to that point where you're really go into more of the micro mixing, because you don't have to worry about what the big mix picture is, okay? It also allows you to have more time for your life. Who wants to be stuck in the studio? I know that studios and mixing and producing music is the coolest thing you could do, right? However, if that's all you do in your life and you don't have time to hang out with friends or have dinner with someone or with your family or play with a dog or to go for a walk or to do something else, explore other things, read a book, and all you do is mix, that really makes your life boring. Okay? It really makes you tired and you're just too exhausted and numb from being hammering away, mixing to get things right. Usually what I do when I start mixing, I start loud because I want things to be not only for me to feel the emotional impact of music, because I like to feel the music loud. I also want to hear the frequencies. Thinking about the Fletcher-Munson curve. When you're cranking stuff up, all the 2K darts and 6K darts that are going to split your teeth and really sound harsh and digital and all that, those are going to be more apparent when your ears are fresh. Okay, so it's really important to start mixing to feel the emotion and to feel the overall shrillness and brightness of a mix, to make sure your mix is bright enough and also not too bright or too shrill. Make sure the presence is there without hurting. You can also use a little bit of dynamic equalization, because when it's loud, you'll be able to hear something like occasionally, let's say a guitar solo, there's a few notes in or whatever that really hurt. You want to be able to tame that. And when you're fresher, you can tell if you need to kind of control the 3K range or the 4K range in a lead guitar or in a vocal. Okay. Also, when I'm mixing, I start loud, but then after an hour and a half, I'm not going to visit loud again. Maybe every half an hour or so, I'll crank it pretty good, pretty loud, just for like 30 seconds, just to make sure it still feels good loud and I haven't lost it, okay? Then I'll switch to a more medium level volume, okay? Medium level is somewhere where it's louder than you could comfortably hear yourself talk to somebody sitting next to you, but it's not so loud that, you have to raise your voice or anything, okay? Whatever that decibel level is, you can find what works for you. And then when the nitty-gritty happens and you're doing the fine detail, vocal balances, little things, how much point is on the bass drum, how much of reverb is there, just the fine-tuned little things, I'll be mixing pretty soft so that it'll be lower than the volume that I'm speaking right now. It'll be soft, and I could easily, at a normal volume, just laid back, talking to someone next to me or in the room, and I can still fully hear what's going on in the record. That's really important to make. The majority of what I do is probably on lower volume and on smaller speakers like Ortones or whatever it is that I'm going to be doing low level. Okay, that's going to tell me a lot. And so I usually have 3 marked volumes on my on my volume control. I have a loud volume, I have a medium volume, and I have a low volume. Sometimes it'll just be set to loud or set to soft volume, the lower volume, because I find that if I start going in between medium and loud or in between low level and medium and just find random stuff, your balances will change. At least that's what happens with me. So I don't want my balances to change. I don't want to start constantly chasing my tail just because I'm listening 5 dB louder or something that I'm used to. So set some marks at loud, medium, and soft, and try to stay disciplined to stay at those levels. And your balances that you land on will be better, and you won't have the tendency to want to tweak and mess around with those, okay? So some of the techniques or tips that I could offer to get to the finish line faster is, other than the setting 3 volumes, marking 3 volumes, is, let's say I'm doing a vocal, okay? And I've got a channel strip on a vocal, and I say, I get everything tweaked. I have a little bit of dynamic equalization going. I have my just my overall tonality, compression going. It feels cool, but I'm still not comfortable. If I can't easily just tweak something or add another thing, I usually tend to have, let's say I have a channel strip or an equalizer, even a 4-band EQ or whatever it is I have on the vocal, I tend to not want to reach and tweak that a little more. I'd rather add another plugin. So I liked it, but maybe it's only 80% there. I might add another plugin just to tweak a frequency a little bit, or to dip something or carve a notch out of something, a really tight cue, and just mess a little bit with that. But a lot of times, here's something that helps me out. Instead of massaging a vocal more than 5 or 10 minutes and I'm still not fully satisfied, I'll duplicate the track and start over. Because I might say, gee, I wonder, I have an SSL channel strip on this, or a metric halo, or whatever it is that I have going on, a Neve 4-band. I wonder if I just put a nice sweet pull tech on it instead. So I'll duplicate the vocal track and go for a completely different EQ, possibly a completely different compressor, okay? I'll turn off that first track and start over quickly, okay? So within less than 5 minutes, I have a completely different vocal sound, different de-esser, different compressor, or compressors. A lot of times I'll have two compressors. A lot of times I'll have two EQs on that vocal channel. And what I'll do is I will compete between those two. Okay, sometimes three. And I'll quickly just A-B between sound A and sound B, back and forth. If I can't hear it within 3 switches, 3 toggles, back and forth, and they just sound so good either way, I'm cool with either. They sound really close, and I love them both. I'll just pick one. I won't sit there and ponder it and tweak a little more. I want to just keep moving fast and pounding away. A lot of times I will get to my stereo bus compression also fast, because I don't want to be mixing for 4 or 5 or 6 hours and then add a stereo bus compressor after that. I want my balances to be good. And if I'm going to add a compressor, even if it's just 1 dB, 2 dB, half a dB, things are going to change. So what my point is to commit to your final chain early, so you know how the final thing is going to be living with everything in it, okay? Get to that finish line as fast as possible. And the way to do that is to have your final destination final, okay? Get your 2-bus compressor and your EQ. Usually my EQ is going into the stereo bus compressor, whether it's a Manley Varimu or an SSL. I get that happening and sounding really good. A transformer, if I'm going to have, let's say, mix head on it, made by Metric Halo, that's usually on my stereo bus. I get all that happening really good, so I'm making decisions with things going all along. The same, not only will I duplicate a vocal, I might duplicate a bass guitar. I'll duplicate get guitar tone, solos and stuff, a piano sound. If I'm questioning if the sound is good enough, I'm going to try something else and have them compete against each other. So that's a really good tip to get to the finish line. All along my mixing, what I do is I print mixes, just as a footnote to see where I'm at. So every hour and a half, I will print a 2-bus mix of where I'm at, just so later on, I can just quickly go, this mix is happening. I will quickly listen just for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, the 3 or 4 mixes that I'll have along the way, because I might say, you know what, my mix is better, except mix 2, the bass guitar was better. I had more bite. I wasn't controlling the pick sound so much. I've overcooked it, and I'm going to go back so it's a little more free and grindy sounding, okay? And that'll really help me get to the finish line faster. So this will help you stop to second guess, stop to chase your tail, all this stuff. It really helps me a lot, because if you can discipline yourself to get a finished mix within, let's say it's a full 64 or 80 fader, 72 fader, 100 fader mix. This is also, I should say, your mixes need to be prepped before you start this. So with that in mind, you have everything organized, your session is all in order, your drum samples are ready to be blended if needed. Whatever it is that you need, you have that mix prep happening. If you can get to the finish line and finish the mix within 5, 6, 7 hours and be done with it. Maybe you'll listen to it on fresh ears, just to kind of hear it on fresh ears in the morning. That'll really get you to compete and get your chops better. Because when you dwell on stuff, it's not as good. It's kind of like when you care too much. When I stopped caring so much about this mix has got to be great. I've got to make this the greatest mix, and this is an important client. This is my big break. If you start getting into that headspace, you're probably going to mess up. Or maybe not fully mess up, but it's going to take you a long time, and you're not going to be able to just take those key, just gut feeling that you have when you're fresh and not thinking. Stop thinking. Go with how things feel. Don't analyze. Just start reacting. Anything you do, react, especially if you're mixing in a DAW. You have nothing to lose. I'm always doing save as mixes, or what I refer to save as, because it allows me the freedom to explore and do whatever I want to do really fast. Because if I go down a dark alley and it's not good and I'm not feeling it, I'll just immediately revert to an earlier mix that I know was cool. Also, I should say, if I'm mixing for an hour, the first half an hour to an hour, I get the mix, so I go, yeah, okay, the overall mix is happening. I will take 45 minutes, an hour break of what it is. Or let's say when I leave that, I know that, yeah, it's cool. I know what I'm doing. I understand all the characters in the play. I've learned the record. I understand what's involved, what does what. I'll turn down all the faders, just everything down to zero. I'll take my break and I'll come down and I will quickly start over. I will sometimes do that during a mix, even after that first hour and coming back from an ear break. I will come back and pull on the faders maybe twice, sometimes 3 times if I'm just frustrated, instead of just massaging and massaging and massaging and being frustrated and go, man, it's good, but it's not blowing me away. It's not blinding. You want your mix to be blinding. Pull down the faders fearlessly. Don't have anything precious that you're working on, okay? Have nothing precious at all. Don't spend more than 5 minutes on anything that you're struggling with. If you're struggling with it, move on and come back to it. So those are the tips and techniques that I use to keep things fresh and get to a great mix really fast. And since I started just not caring, and I just go for it, and just whatever I feel, I react to stuff, print my rough mixes, do whatever it is I want to do, everything that I've explained. My mixes are the strongest they've ever been, and I get them in lightning speed, okay? And you'll enjoy mixing more. It should be fun, and even when it's not fun, it's still a blast doing it because it's a cool thing to do, being able to shape great music with great artists and bands. I love doing it. So keep it fun, keep it alive, keep it fresh, keep it from getting stale. And I guess that's it. Thanks for checking this out. I hope this is helpful on your mixing journey. Keep pounding away. Have a great day, and cheers, everybody.